Hey, what's up, sports fans? Welcome back to yet another edition of Sports, of course. This week on the show, we've got 2 undefeated teams left, and you won't believe who they are. Rodgers Tops Brady, but was it legit? And look who decided to show up. Tease that one in a second. I am one of your hosts, Jonah, and with me, as always, is RPF, my man. You can catch us on all of your major podcast listening platforms. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, all the good ones. Just go search Sports, of course, and we are, of course, available on YouTube at our dedicated channel, Sports, of course.
That's a Y and a T.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were calling timeout. I thought you were calling timeout.
Lame attempt at kind of hand signals.
We are, of course, available on YouTube and our dedicated channel, Sports, of course, with Jonah and RPF. Please head over there, check it out, subscribe, and yeah, without further ado, I know RPF is dying to get into this episode. So without further ado, RPF, tell me a little bit about your week, and then we'll dive into some football.
Well, first of all, those hand signals I just gave you prove to me why I'll never be a third base coach, in baseball. I'll be like, bunt the ball.
So funny story, I've coached some youth travel teams in the past, and I'm terrible with signs because I was a pitcher, right? So I never I never paid attention to the signs. So I never got all this.
Even from your catcher.
Yeah, and I know the ones and the twos and the threes, okay. But I never paid attention to all the team signs because I'd never ran the bases. I never got to hit. Right. So when I started coaching, my steal sign was to just sneakily show the kid over at first base
Maybe guys, they have 0% success rate in stealing bases.
It's youth baseball, so you can get away with it. You can find a moment where no one's really paying attention. And just
if I was a parent in the stands, I'd be like the binoculars on you the whole time. Like they're stealing the base. That's funny. I am literally. Thanks for asking how I am, but I am reeling with. Bubbling with excitement. Bubbling. I'm doing something. I'm just buzzing.
Yeah,
I'm buzzing,
you can't even describe it because you're not used. You have no idea what it is.
It's pretty much the feeling on top of the world. I don't feel it's the feeling I don't recognize really. I mean, I don't quite believe yet, right. But yet is a key word here because I'm believing it.
Right.
I'm believing it because we'll obviously get into it, but it has been. I mean. Wow, redemption after half a century. It's been pretty crazy. All right.
Yes. Okay. I, on the other hand, have stopped shaving because my quarterback died and my team is just...
Your quarterback. Well,
all right.
Yeah.
Well, we got a couple headlines, some storylines from this week. RPF, I'm going to give you the opportunity. I've got 3 headlines listed here. Would you like to start with your Dolphins or end with them?
I think we'd start.
All right.
Because then it's out of my system, then I could be more fair and equitable for everyone else. Yeah. But right now, I'm going to be eye rolling you until we get to the Dolphins. So why don't we just get to the chase?
Got it. All right. My headline is a dazed Tua stuns the Bills. So I didn't. Admittedly, I didn't watch a ton of the game because it was on the same time as the Patriots were. And actually, the Patriots, oh man, they were in the game too, and they were and I was like, oh my gosh, we're hanging in with the Ravens. We got okay. And then
but Lamar can break your heart though.
Yeah, and then basically the back half of the game happened and we fell apart, and then our quarterback literally kind of fell apart and can't walk anymore. But anyway, so I didn't watch much of the game. I just caught highlights. Fill me in. It looked kind of sloppy, kind of a sloppy game. And then
that's the people who didn't watch it believe that because the highlights just kind of point to it was a very unusual game. But first of all, before that, by the way, the only play I saw from the Patriots game live was actually the best play of the game for you guys was Devontae Parker going deep, which was basically a former Dolphin.
Finally, he showed up.
Yeah, exactly.
This offseason, we went out and we got Devontae Parker, and he was supposed to be the guy, and
he was your Tyreek Hill Jr. or something. Junior.
He finally showed up, which was a silver lining, but anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, so the Dolphin game, it was crazy because it was hot in Miami. Which, by the way, the Bills fans after this game have been truly epic about their excuses because now they want to report the Miami Dolphins organization to OSHA, I guess the housing the work conditions agency that can report Like when people report children who are child labor laws and stuff, this is for for hot weather. That they shouldn't have built a stadium in Miami, apparently. Anyway, so it's very funny. Anyway, yeah, the Bills were dropping like flies. They were like literally every play, two of them would collapse on the ground, which I didn't know the rule was. If you were like out of shape and fat, you were able to lay down on the ground and not have a timeout counted against you. Whereas people who are conditioned, aka the Dolphins, were literally not stopping every play, and no one got, it was just became, it literally happened 11 times.
Yeah.
Every single player on the Bills was just on their ass, every gas. Here's why. The Bills had 92, I'll say it slowly, 92 offensive plays.
Wow.
And they scored 92. Miami had 39.
Wow.
Google this, please, because I know you don't believe me. Second of all, the time of possession was 2-1 for the Bills. Do you know how many points they scored in the second half? 3 points.
Wow.
The Dolphins' defense of accordion-like stretching and not breaking somehow has held together 2 weeks in a row. I mean, Lamar Alexander and the Ravens running team lit up the Dolphins defense until they didn't, right? Until we stopped them twice on fourth down. The same thing here. Josh Allen was doing Josh Allen things the entire game until until we stopped him at the goal line again on fourth down. So that this, and by the way, this is my hope for the Dolphins. It's not only that, because the offense has shown up, and we have flashes of everything working on all cylinders there. What hasn't shown up consistently is the defense.
Sure.
And guess what? The defense is stronger than our offense. So I have nothing but hope and excitement about what it means. So I'll assess the game in the future of the Dolphins quickly. I'll just say, and I even wrote it down because I was so nervous about it. I was so excited about it. Said if the Dolphins can somehow escape with a win in Cincy, because we're recording this Wednesday, tomorrow night is the big game, prime time on Amazon Prime. The Bengals, and they're trying to get back on track. They're 1-2, and Joe Burrow with the Dolphins, the unexpected. No one believed it except me, 3-0 team. But if we somehow can escape with a victory there, which I think we can, because with all our schemes in the defense to rush the passer, and the offensive line still Swiss cheese there. So I think we can disrupt Burrow enough to sneak a win from Cincy. And if we do that, here are the upcoming games for the Dolphins. So you tell me which one we won't be favored in.
Okay.
I'm asking. The Jets, the Vikings, the Steelers, the Lions, the Bears, the Browns, the Texans, the 49ers. That's the sequence of games. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That looks like a 10-0 start to me.
Favored in probably all of them. I'll give you that. Favored in.
Look, it's a long season, injuries, Tua could, whatever. What the point is, but on paper at least, it was pretty damn good. And then of course we get into the Bills and Packers to end this, end the season with, But I just think it's very, very interesting to me that we're not playing. I believe we're playing at 65% of capability, and we're still undefeated. And the only 2 teams that are undefeated, and the Eagles, the other surprising team, right? So I think it's a very, very interesting thing. I mean, I'm as hopeful as I've been in a long time, and I've always been the optimist. I'm always the guy, glass half full, even when the glass was smashed into a million pieces. I really believe this is the right coach, the right team, the right alignment of the stars to make this truly a team that could be a team of destiny, not unlike the '69 Mets in some ways in baseball. It's a team that was destined, that it was unstoppable. The 2004, the Red Sox when they came back. So I think this type of feeling I'm getting about the Dolphins. So we'll see. Look, it's early days. It's 17-game season, and who knows what's going to happen. But I just think if we can get past the Bengals.
I would say in that list of teams that you laid out there, their next 10 games or so. I would say the biggest the biggest one to look at would be, I think, the 49ers, and the reason being is it's kind of late on that list, right? So it gives Garoppolo.
It's in Miami though. It's in Miami.
Fine,
it helps us.
It gives Garoppolo some time to really start meshing and gelling with the squad. So like.
The Vikings also. The Vikings also. It's in Minnesota, so that makes it important for them. But also after the Niners game, then we go into LA for the Chargers. We go to Buffalo straight from the Chargers from LA to Buffalo, which is not a good trip.
Yeah.
And then from Buffalo we have the Packers on Christmas Day in Miami.
Yeah.
Then we end with the Patriots and Jets. So I think finally we end with the Jets, so we can like exhale. And we've ended with the Bills the past 5 years in Buffalo. So that's always like, we're in the playoffs. And no, just kidding, you know.
Right.
Josh Allen just laughs his way.
Right.
Anyway, but yes, and people will say, by the way, before everyone says it, I'll say it first. This was a different Buffalo Bills team. They were decimated by injuries in the secondary, even on the line. But we don't make the rules. You know, we play who's in front of us, right? So no one will be saying anything if all of a sudden all-star players, you know, were hurt and they beat us. It's, you know, that's how it is. It's whomever's in front of you and you beat them, you beat that team. So that's how I play.
Listen, I'll give you this. You know, I thought just looking at the score and, you know, not watching the game, I thought the bigger surprise to me was your defense and not necessarily because going into the game, I was like, oh my gosh, the Bills, what, you know, when you think about the Dolphins, like what is their primary strength? It's Waddle and Hill on the outside, right? And it's Tua and Waddle and Hill.
On offense,
right?
On offense.
Yeah. And so when I'm looking at the Bills and I'm like, oh my God, they're missing Micah Hyde. I was like, you know, this should be a matchup where, you know, Waddle and Hill can run wild. But this is the best part.
Hill had 3 touches for 40 yards, and we still won the game. So that to me is a good thing. You know, that we don't have to rely on that horse all the time, you know, and it was the defense.
Right. And that's what I'm getting at is that at the end of the story, you know, the beginning of the story was, oh my gosh, the Bills are missing these key defensive players that they need to match up against Waddle and Hill. And then the end of the story was, well, no, Dolphins actually won because of their because they held Buffalo, you know, I forget what
I will say though, on
the final was.
The final goal line stand that was definitive was it was a 4th and 3 or something, and from the 3 on the 4th and goal on the 3, and Josh Allen dropped back. He had his receiver open for a minute, and he short armed the receiver.
Mm-hmm.
All I kept thinking about, that's Josh Allen. No one said a word. If that was Tua, who short-armed, no, I'm serious. If that was Tua, who literally, it's a bit like if Obama had stolen all these documents from the White House, you know, took it to like.
Allen was also getting work on his hand over on the sideline, wasn't he?
Okay,
I'm sure he was asking questions.
He maybe had a manicure at halftime. I have no idea.
Okay.
The point is that whatever happened, it was a short hop. And if that happened to Tua, it would be the end of Twitter as we know it. Twitter would just explode into a million pieces because the Dolphin fan base would say, oh my God, I told you, he can't throw the ball 2 yards.
Speaking of what happened to Tua, let me get your take on this. He gets absolutely rocked and tries to stand up and falls over, and they let him stay in the game.
It wasn't quite that. He was pushed.
Yeah, right.
He was pushed. He wasn't like the guy didn't land on him. He just pushed him, and he hit his lower back and his head on the turf. So he gets up with a little dizzy, as one would get.
A little dizzy.
And he waddled over to the sideline and
he fell over first.
He didn't fall over.
Yes, he did.
He stumbled.
He hit the ground.
He didn't fall over.
He hit the ground. First of all,
he did not hit the ground. He went on a knee, for heaven's sake. Just so crazy. Anyway, the point is that he did the protocol. Everything was fine. And by the way, as I predicted, Teddy Bridgewater came in for 3 plays that were ranked in the worst 3 plays ever in history of football. Okay, so to tell you that we're a little nervous about Tua, he has to be upright and healthy because Bridgewater, it's literally not the answer. Not the answer. So the point is that Tua, this is a big to do about nothing. That was one of the other complaints from the Bill fan base. Oh, you know, Bill's Mafia saying, oh, Tua didn't complete the protocol. Well, if he didn't complete the protocol and he played that well in the second half, then you guys are more in trouble, kind of thing. So anyway, he's playing on Thursday. He's been cleared. So he's going to play against the Bengals. That's going to be a fun game to watch. I will tell you, on national TV. So that's going to be fun.
I'll tell you what.
But yeah,
let's move on.
Yes, move on. I'm good. I'm just saying this is a long season, but
we're going to move on. But But we're
The
gonna.
last thing I'll say. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm just saying. I woke up on Monday morning to ESPN, the NFL Network, and the Athletic, all ranking Miami number 1 in the power rankings. Tears welled up in my skull.
That's a curse, though.
No, but listen to me. We've beaten the Ravens and the Bills. The Eagles, for all their undefeatedness, they beat nobody. So I'm just saying it's a very interesting.
I didn't
thing
say you didn't
that
earn
all
it.
Of a sudden,
I just said it's a.
No, I'm just saying
it can be a curse.
Believe me, it could be. Of course, it could be a curse. I mean, everything could be a curse for Miami. Have you not followed? Have you not paid attention to my struggle? No, but I think it is very. It was just even the reluctant acceptance. Even they all said something snarky because they couldn't help it. They're like, "Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how long this lasts." But anyway, like Stephen A. Smith. No disrespect to Miami, but they suck, and Tua can't throw, and the Bills are still the best team. And I'm like, oh yeah, no disrespect taken, Stephen A. Smith. Anyway, no one. We can. I mean, this is a punchline. We can go 20-0, which is what we would be. We went undefeated and won the Super Bowl. 20-0, and there still be people saying, yeah, but the Bills still have Josh Allen, and Burrow didn't have an offensive tackle to help him. It's never going to be good enough for some people. That's life, I guess. All right, I'm done.
Let's move north, but in the same state. And let me ask you this: who the hell do the Jaguars think they are?
Well,
so just for pretext, anyone who didn't catch it, Jaguars go to face one of the AFC powerhouse that we all have listed as like potential Super Bowl picks, the Chargers, and they blow them out 38-10.
Yeah,
and it's like they moved to 2-1 atop the AFC South. And my question is, like you kind of laid out with the Dolphins, they have the Eagles, which will be an extremely hard game. If I doubt they pull it off, but they have the Eagles, Texans, Colts, Giants, Broncos, Raiders before they hit the Chiefs. Like, I'm giving them a loss to the Eagles, but could they feasibly pull the majority of these off?
I think they'll lose to the Raiders.
To the Raiders?
Yeah, I do.
The 0-3 Raiders?
I think the Raiders are not going to be 0 something.
Well, I don't think they're going to finish 0-17.
But I think they'll beat the Jaguars. I mean.
Well, I thought the Chargers would beat the Jaguars.
Are you actually comparing the Jaguars to the Dolphins right now? Is this your
subtle not even close.
dig at me? Oh, no,
good attempt.
I'm a little sensitive.
Yeah,
about the whole...
good attempt though. good attempt to bring your Dolphins back into a conversation. I'm just saying. I'm just saying that very feasibly, it seems like the Jaguars headed into the Chiefs could be at minimum at least 6-3, if not 7-2. Which 6-3 for the Jaguars.
It's Christmas morning for sure. Yeah, believe me, I'm the one that said I do recall in the first episode of this season when you asked me the quick round or whatever it's called, the flash round, that you asked me about this particular quarterback for the Jags, and I said he should really just fess up and just not be in this business anymore and just go to Home Depot and become a manager. So I still kind of sort of stand by that until I see a little more. I think the Eagles game is going to prove a lot to see if the Eagles go in there and win 31-0, then the world will be right again, right? But if it becomes a 21-21 overtime, type of ordeal, we got to start paying attention to the mighty Jaguars. So we'll see.
Yeah. Anyway, they caught my eye this week, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, for sure.
Blew them out, and I was like, oh, they're
speaking of blowout,
2-1.
The QB's hair is looking mighty fine too. After that long game, he just took off his helmet and he looked like he was a Brett girl. His hair was whipping around, and he was no flyaways. I was very impressed with the hair products. So, very important stuff.
All right, we got another team that really surprised me this week when I said, look who decided to show up, and that's the Colts taking down the Chiefs.
Who had that in their pocket?
Who had that? And even I went back, I was like, oh my God, they beat the Chiefs. And then I was like, let me see these stats. I even went back to look at the stats. The Colts had 259 total yards and allowed 5 sacks. And so I'm still saying to myself, how the hell did they beat the Chiefs?
Because the Chiefs don't have Tyreek Hill. They don't have they have to grind instead of fly now, and that's something that people are not realizing. That Patrick Mahomes is brilliant. I mean, I still believe he's the best pure quarterback in football, and I think for him to have to dunk and duck and slash and flare and tear versus haul the ball downfield to Kelsey and to Hill is changing the dynamic of the game and giving them less plays, or rather having to do more plays to do the same amount. Yeah. And that's going to be a problem when these games that they've eked out over the years, and we're used to them beating Buffalo at the last second, and couple of these kind of blowout games. I mean, these kind of gunslinger games. I don't know if they can get into a gunslinger game. I think the Ravens beat the Chiefs now. I think the Bills beat the Chiefs now. Yeah. So I think the Dolphins can beat the Chiefs now because, again, the presence of
I think any of them can after the Colts beat them.
Yeah, that's true. The Colts the Colts lost to Jaguars. I mean, it's just such a weird season so far. But 3 weeks in, only 2 teams are undefeated. 3-0.
I know.
Only 2.
I know, it's crazy.
I mean, remember even last year they were like 11 teams that were like 5-0 or something.
3 weeks ago, if someone said, "Hey, after week 3, the only 2 undefeated teams are going to be the Eagles and the Dolphins,"
I would have believed half of that. I still believe. I believe that we were going to do that. I mean, I do believe that. But the Eagles, I think I dissed the Eagles even in our first episode. I said Eagles. No,
I picked them to win the NFC East.
You did, and I went.
And you said you're an idiot.
I didn't say that. I said Dallas was going to come together, and of course Zach got hurt the first game. So, and by the way, they're still not out of it, the Cowboys. So I'm just saying.
No, of course not. It is and always will be the NFC least. I don't care whose record is what.
I agree.
Something will happen.
The NFC least is a good one. Yeah, it's definitely.
But here's the thing with the.
And by the way, what about the AFC West? They're supposed to be the best division by far. Terrifying. What?
Yeah,
I can't wait to play the AFC West. I mean, it's like bring it on.
Yeah, right. And tying into the AFC West, quick note on that. Broncos 11-10. Like, what are we watching?
Just watching Garoppolo step out of bounds. I mean, it's like, honestly, it was just, first of all, we'll get to the segment in a second.
Got it. Yeah. But 11-10. I was just like, I was trying to watch the game because it was the night game, and I was like, this is awful. I don't want to watch this.
The Red Sox and Oriole game last night had more runs than 11.
Right. But jumping back to the Colts real quick, it just how crazy is it that, literally 1 week ago they were 0-2, and we were talking about they suck, they're terrible, like they're done.
I said the last person I would want to be right now is a Colts fan.
And then they win, they pull off this upset win against the Chiefs, and then just like we've been doing with the other teams, I'm looking at them and they got Titans, Broncos, Jags, Titans, Commanders, Patriots, Raiders, like all pretty much.
But here's the thing: this league, who isn't beatable in some ways, the Bills. I think the Bills are the only team that I would say, maybe the Bucs, maybe the Packers, but beyond that, bring it on.
Yeah.
Any given Sunday, baby. I think it's going to be very interesting. I think it's going to be a bunch of 11-6 and 10-7 teams fighting for the playoffs, and Miami's going to go undefeated. It's going to be great.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, speaking of the Bucs, real quick. I mean that game. Unfortunately, that they lost that game the second that Mike Evans got suspended. I mean, watching that game.
I mean, he didn't know where it was. Who was he throwing to? He had no idea.
Right.
He goes, "What? Hey, you? What's your name?" Yeah, he was pointing to people. He didn't know their name. He was like, "Hey, you, young guy over there."
It got down to the point where essentially Russell Gage became like the primary target, and it got down to the point where towards the end of the game. Certainly the whole fourth quarter, Russell Gage took a hit and like he was like a shell of himself.
Wow.
And
he was wobbling.
And I guarantee you, Brady was like, "You are not coming out of this game."
You have to get like
I will brace your legs. Like Forrest Gump as a kid.
I have a friend of mine who texted me, who was watching that game. He said in the fourth quarter, he goes, "I would hold on. I would make sure that the balls aren't deflated." Something. It's like he was kind of funny because he was going to go to all means necessary just to. But and by the way, Aaron Rodgers, where has he been this whole season? He just showed up as Aaron Rodgers all of a sudden,
Yeah,
and he did.
Yeah, he did.
Aaron Rodgers things.
I give him a little bit of credit.
Well, he showered.
I-
First of all,
I do think the decimated receiver core of the Bucs made a massive difference. I don't.
Oh no, unquestionably.
Yeah.
Brady had no targets, no playmakers to throw to. But I'm just saying, at least from how Rodgers handled his end of the game, he handled it better than I thought he.
Yeah.
Well, he certainly handled it the best of the season and better than I thought he would do.
Yeah.
Against that Buck defense that was so vaulted.
Right.
So.
Yeah. They've been doing extremely well. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. That's all I got for football this week. We're gonna move on to. Hang on, I'm gonna get it all right this time. We're gonna move on to this week on.
My favorite thing. It's so sad, by the way. That's my favorite thing. I look forward to the whole entire week.
If you'll allow me to indulge on this, I actually have two.
Yes. Go.
I'll do the first one. I'll keep kind of brief. And the first one has to do with Aaron Judge. I'm going baseball here, and it's not that I don't like Aaron Judge. I think he's fantastic for the game. It's the. It is the ESPN like cutting to every at bat because he's going to tie a record that was already broken.
Well, didn't you see the McGuire and Sosa year when they did that? Also, they did that in like all throughout September. Every single
because they were breaking the record.
Right, they're also breaking the rules by juicing. But
no, they didn't break the rules. That was not against the rules of Major League Baseball
until it was
until after.
Okay. Like, is that why Barry Bonds is still considered?
Yes.
A fantastic player. Okay. There's a whole different. I think this feels like a whole different topic.
Steroid use was not in the rule book.
That's insane
until
to me.
2002 or 3 or 4, somewhere in there.
Wow. So it was Canseco rule or something, or was that the?
He was fine.
The impetus.
He was fine.
So who was the one that
well, Canseco was like the whistleblower. He was the one that was like,
right. He was right, of course. He's been whistling ever since about everything else. So it's like him and A-Rod's.
But anyway, my first gripe is just with the fact that like these records are already broken, and I brought this up with someone else, and they're like, well, he's doing it cleanly, and I was like, okay, great, like, but like.
Doesn't Aaron Judge to you look like the Jolly Green Giant, or like Godzilla in Tokyo? Like he doesn't look like he fits in the batter's box. He's like, he looks like everyone else is playing a sport. He's playing like he's the like the episode of Big that he grows up too fast, and he's like, he just doesn't. He looks like he's twice the size of everyone else.
Again, I like him. I think he's great for baseball. I think he's a great role model. He hits home runs and he just runs the bases, which I love. There's no, he's right. Much like
there's no showmanship.
He's the hitting version of Mariano Rivera.
Yeah,
you just
do the job.
I was expected to do this, so I'm just going to run my bases and I'm going to touch home plate. There's. By
the way, there's a 5% chance he ends up with the Red Sox after the season, just because of the free agency. So I'm just saying.
But I think he's great. I think he's awesome for baseball. I just don't understand the infatuation with him approaching 61 home runs.
I will tell you that baseball needs to compete with everything else going on in the world. Everything is moving fast. Baseball, by definition, doesn't. So I think this is something to kind of to hang your in a down season of sorts of interest of human interest stories. They got to latch onto something. Yeah, and I think this is as good as it gets.
All right, I'm going to move on to my second. What the huh? This one's a little bit more serious, and this one really irked me. And then I read an article yesterday that irked me even more. And this one is the firing of Herm Edwards over at Arizona State. Mm-hmm. And the part that's made me say, huh? Was they literally fired him on the field after the game. Like have some ounce of human decency. Like, it's fine. And you know what? Honestly, the way Herm Edwards reacted to it, it looked like maybe this was kind of like a pre-agreed upon like circumstance. Like, I mean, he was just like, okay. And ran off.
Just an extra level of humiliation that was not necessary.
Exactly.
It was cruel.
Listen, like even if behind the scenes the past couple weeks, as an AD, or, you're having conversations with Herm Edwards about like, hey, we need more, like, blah 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 blah. You don't fire him on the field. After the game, you see him in the facilities. You call him into the office, and then you do it.
Rules should be applied across the board. You should not break up with anyone by text or post-it note. Right. You should not fire a head coach ever on the field during or right after the game. Field. Wait till the next morning.
Cameras are everywhere. It's just a really bad look.
It's just by the way, these are serious and not as fun as the segment's supposed to be, in my opinion. Lighten up, Jonah.
Well, and then the last segment of this is to make it even less serious.
More depressing.
Is I read an article yesterday about how allegedly some of at Herm's staff members were leaking information to opposing teams to get him fired.
Wow. Well, either how unpopular must you be, or how disruptive must you be to the order of things?
I don't know. The whole thing is just.
By the way, I've been on the receiving end of a little bit of corporate. I think you know this too. I mean, just not that long ago, I've been in the receiving end of corporate malfeasance. When people basically making up things that aren't true to elevate themselves or to eliminate a situation they don't want. And it's almost like the defense is like when people ask you, have you stopped beating your wife yet? What are you talking about? It's a weird. I don't accept the premise of the question. Thank you very much. That's exactly what we're talking about here, and it's possibly. The same thing a little bit happened with the Brian Flores thing, but that ended up being went down a different rabbit hole that no one expected. So so that's not so that's bad and not really happy. But thank you for your segment,
come on, world,
Jonah.
just clean it up. That's all. I'm just trying.
Just be nice, people. Just have some decency, right?
All right, RPF, give us something a little bit lighter.
2 words for you that will be forever entered into the lexicon of NFL history: butt punt.
I did see this. Okay.
The butt punt. For those who didn't see it, please go on YouTube right now. Not on our channel, the one next to it. Just do a search for butt punt and you'll see it. Basically, after that fourth and goal line stand that the Dolphin defense had against Josh Allen and the Bills, we had Dolphins had like a minute 20 something left. And we had the ball on the 3-yard line. Of course, doing Dolphin things as we do, we called 3 straight running plays, which were gained a total of maybe 6 inches. So that was, and of course they had 2 timeouts left. So basically 14 seconds came off the clock. If, a side note, I would have done a play action on 3rd down and just hurl the ball down to Waddle or Hill, see if anyone just bites on it.
Right.
Anyway, that would have been epic, right? Okay. But no, we thought we were like the Steelers, and we ran the ball 3 times in a row for no gain. So that was pleasant. So now our punter, which is one of the best in the NFL, had 8 yards instead of his traditional, 14 to punt. So we have this player called, his name is, I want to get his name right because it's very interesting, Trent Sherfield. He's a special teams player. He's our blocker. He's the guy in front of the punter who blocks to make sure there's no one coming in. And he's built like he's a bodybuilder. He's this guy is chiseled, and he's not, there's a bunch of pictures, even in training camp of all the other players just staring at him in the weight room, oh my God, this guy's built to perfection. He doesn't have much skill about anything else. He just looks like he's a brick wall, right? And anyway, so the point is that Cheetah's response was the best. So the hike comes, and the punter proceeds to literally punt the ball. His foot, the ball, and Sherfield's ass were one. It wasn't even he punted it and it hit his ass. It was all he was trying to shove the ball in his ass. It was literally incomprehensibly bizarre. In fact, the NFL, the official Twitter account of the NFL said, "Photo of the year," with a picture of the punter's foot, the football, and Sherfield's ass perking up, trying to block somebody. All right, so the ball, of course, bounces off his ass and goes into the 3rd row for a safety. So now it's a 2-point game with Josh Allen, the NFL's best quarterback, with a minute left to go after a free punt, after the kick punt. So I was like, okay, this is what the Dolphins do. Of course, we're going to lose this game with a field goal, a 67-yard field goal. Anyway, the point is that the punt happened, and Cheetah's response after we won the game was very classic. In the locker room, they asked him, "So he said, he goes, Cheetah, have you ever seen a butt punt before? And he goes, bro, I'm quoting, I've never seen a butt punt before. Next time, Trent Sherfield's going to catch it with his butt cheeks because he's got some strong butt cheeks. So his goal is for the next time, the first time in NFL history with a butt punt. But now the next butt punt, with Sherfield still there, he's going to flex his butt and catch the ball. I mean, anyway, it was very, very funny. So Cheetah, of course, proceeded then to diss the DB that he's going to go up against, the Bengals. He claimed he didn't know they were playing on Thursday, and he claimed he didn't know we were playing the Bengals. So he's like, who are playing? The Bengals. When? This Thursday? Oh, and he went on to
you know what? I kind of believe it. He strikes me as that kind of player. I had teammates like that just, and it's not a bad thing. It's right. It's like
he doesn't care who he plays.
Present moment focus. It's like I'm living in the now. I have no idea what's happening ahead of me or behind me.
But Elias is a cornerback that with the Chiefs and he goes, I owe Elias. He goes, he's gonna, I'm gonna smoke the. Whatever. So he's already. I was like, we don't need the motivated Cheetah. Thank you. Anyway, so that was my which is like the butt punt.
I did.
It's pretty classic. It's pretty classic.
I have to say, it does not, in my opinion, it does not top the butt fumble.
The butt fumble is pretty classic, but the butt punt. I will only give it the butt punt. I'll give the butt punt the edge just because there was no separation between the foot, the ball, and the butt. There was no it was all kind of wedges, one sculpted piece.
I do have to imagine that Mark Sanchez is a little bit happier today because there's now many in the Wolfpack.
Well, how about what's his face? Garoppolo when he stepped out of bounds in the end zone. What's the famous quarterback who did the same thing and ruined the season for some team? I
don't remember.
A few years. Yeah, it was like this. In fact, the headline was the next day in one of these Fox Sports newsletter things. Why he's how happy is he that Garoppolo did that, because he's no longer. It's considered whatever when quarterbacks do that. It's considered the guy's last name who did it first. It's like bad. It's like it's already been. Anyway, I forgot who it was, but it was he was very grateful that someone else did it, so he can be a little bit,
right.
Like Bill Buckner. Bill Buckner between the legs.
Yep.
Anyway.
All right, let's move along, RPF. Tell me what is on your mind right now? Let's look forward to a little RPF right now.
Right now, I think the state of my two favorite teams in baseball are the Red Sox, and basketball, the Heat. How seemingly by doing the same things, by not doing anything at all in the offseason, would result in very different outcomes. The Heat apparently are smartly staying put with the team that they already have. All off-season long, the pressure's been built on Pat Riley to definitely make big moves. Go get all the players. Go get Irving. Go get everybody that's remotely in play. And the Heat was like, and every scenario was like trade Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson and trade even Jimmy Butler, trade Adebayo, trade everybody. And he let everything swirl around him. And Pat Riley just said, "We're good. We're good." I think that's a smart move. I think Duncan Robinson is the playmaker that has to step up. Tyler Hero has to do a little bit more, even though he won the 6-man award, but he has to do a little bit more. And Duncan Robinson, if he sinks 10% more baskets, we're champions. We're NBA champions. So I think he did the right thing. I think the fan base is really happy with that. But conversely, the Red Sox, oh my God, they have to only preserve two players, Devers and Bogarts.
Mm-hmm.
And Bogarts is still neck and neck with Aaron Judge for the batting crown. They're 1 and 2 in the batting crown. But I'm just saying that we have to secure. It's hard to get a shortstop with power. And he's a leader. So Bogarts and Devers, which it's another first only once in a generation type player. Those two have to be locked down, and then we need pitching. We need first base. We need outfielders. We need the utility. We need relief pitchers. So we have to go shopping because the farm team is not enough. Anyway, so that's going to be, I think the Red Sox cannot be timid. They've been timid all year about trading anybody. We're about to lose JD Martinez to free agency. So we need to have some pop in our lineup, some pitching, and some strong defense. And that requires money. So let's go get some. And then the Heat, I think they did the right thing by staying put. So that's my right now take.
Okay. What do we know when MLB playoffs officially start?
I think Arbor Day. I mean, I don't know. It's like they get later and later each year. I mean, it's probably going to. I don't know. I think October 11th or something. That seems right.
Okay,
it's something like that.
Yeah, I was just sorry. I was planning future episodes already. I'm just.
Well, we're still not done with this one, so just focus.
All right, sorry.
Okay. You see what happens, guys? The Patriots lose a bitch game, and he's like, he has no interest.
I'm done with football. When's hockey? Was hockey starting, right?
Right, hockey's your next one. Hockey's the next one. That's true.
Oh, man. True. All right. Let's move on.
By the way, how about confusing? How about the World Cup in Qatar in November? I mean, right. The World Cup is by definition in the summer, but of course, Qatar is 130 in the summer. And of course, they kill gay people there, so that's going to be fun to watch. The World Cup.
Well, yeah, we will. I actually, I do enjoy. I like it when soccer takes a center stage.
Me too. I think we've more fun than the World Cup.
I think we've talked about this in the past. Like, I would love to be a soccer fan. I just don't know anything about it, and I don't know. I've even asked soccer fans, how do I get involved and become a soccer fan? And they don't have an answer for me. They're like, well,
I think what you got to be born into it, and you drink a lot before the game starts.
I'm halfway there.
You really do that already, so kind of like
I'm halfway there.
But it's also it's considered the sense of like entitlement, the sense of like it's the most beautiful game,
yeah.
And it's like it's a bunch of guys like play acting at being insane. It's just like, you know what it is? I just hate the flopping. Yeah. It's so annoying. It's bad. It's worse than any sport.
It is annoying. And you know what makes it more...
I mean, you touch a shoelace and the guy goes flying 10 feet in the air and saying, ah! Yellow fire.
You know what's even more annoying is that they admit to it.
Yes, they laugh about it in the locker room.
Yeah.
Like, I think soccer's up there with curling and like biathlon that are on my.
Don't you bang on my curling? I love me some curling.
I think you'd be an all-pro, all-world curling champion if you really devoted your time to it.
There's a curling club here in Schenectady. I'm going to go sign up.
I would literally go and drive and watch you do that, and I'll bring my own broom and everything.
You're gonna bring like an actual broom, like an old school broom?
An actual broom. I'll probably ride it up. I'll ride up it, like a witch. But yeah, that's a So the World Cup is going to be fun in a couple months, but
definitely
we'll see. I think that the U.S. team could surprise some people, so I'm excited.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, I'm gonna finish this off with a little lightning round here. This one's a little bit outside the box, so I'm gonna give you a little preface here. So this week's lightning round is essentially positions within football. Okay, so i.e. like a quarterback. And what I want you to do is I want you to give me your take on the amount of impact that they're having on the season as a whole. So you know how like, because I was thinking about it. So in my own
position or a specific player.
No, just the position.
Okay. Okay.
And maybe I'll explain why afterwards, because I don't want to influence your answers in any way.
I got it.
But this has kind of been on my brain. It's if you think about like eras, like we've moved like into the era of the quarterback and passing and this and that. Like and then if you look a little bit more micro or macro, micro, it's each season kind of has like standouts.
A storyline,
right? All right, so we'll start nice and easy. And so this is the impact that these positions as a whole are having on the NFL.
Okay.
Quarterbacks.
Much less than usual. Much less.
Running backs.
I can elaborate if you want me to. Much less.
Wide receivers.
Much more.
Interesting. Head coaches.
Much more.
Kickers.
Always important, annoyingly so.
Always annoyingly important. So
yes,
right. So this is you kind of hit what I was sort of feeling as myself. But like, I look at the running backs, and it's like Jonathan Taylor in Indianapolis, Derrick Henry in Tennessee. Like all these big, huge names are just like, meh. Yeah, it's okay.
It's all by committee now. It's running backs by committee. It's kind of keeping the ball moving. 4 yards a carry is considered epic now. I mean the return of the Giants and the Cowboys, big guns, all of a sudden, they have a 3.7 average. They're like, oh, they're back. I'm like, what? So yeah, what happened to like Eric Dickerson and Barry Sanders and these type of players?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they're completely.
Austin Eckler's another one with the Chargers. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, and the other thing I will tell you is the weird thing about this season is, and I don't think anyone mentioned this that I've read anywhere, but the inordinate amount of DBs that have dropped pick six possibilities. I've seen 30 drops in 3 weeks. And it's not even, there's only a couple have actually caught the ball for pick six. And it's been very interesting to me that the quarterbacks, that's why I'm saying it's almost like they've been kind of lucky in many ways. That the stat sheet's not all messy with all their picks, because it's been I don't know what type of elephant glue these DBs are playing with in their hands, because they literally cannot catch a ball. I mean, it's like, that includes, by the way, my DBs for the Dolphins that actually traditionally have always jumped the route and popped in there, and they can't catch a ball. So they dropped three against Josh Allen that were 100% sure things, and they dropped two from Tua. So so anyway, that's just an observation I don't think people have made before that I've read or seen, but it's been on my mind too.
And then so I kind of had the same feelings as you did, which was, quarterback play has been down a little bit, but wide receiver play has been up. And then I had my own personal moment when I was like, well, how can that be? How can you have receiver play go up and quarterback play go down?
Because the quarterbacks are not getting the credit as they did. I'll tell you this. I think that the position to look for, in my opinion, there's two positions: one offense and one defense. The position to look for is the tight end. The tight end is going to be, I think, the difference maker in this season.
Okay,
I think it's going to be very interesting to see. Which is why I'm not completely convinced that the Chiefs are out of anything.
Right.
I think with that tight end, they can do anything.
Right.
And with Gesicki, also for the Dolphins, as kind of still a quiet weapon in our arsenal, not really activated as much. I think that's a really good thing too. So I think that, and on defense, I think it has to be the the Lawrence Taylor position, like the pass rusher. Find a slot, find a position, spin around twice, get to the quarterback. And it's always important, but I think that type of freelancing, off the line, rusher, blindside type of quarterback pocket passer, that's going to change the fate of many teams. I think when the ball gets loose, and I think those two positions, if I had to lock it into those are the ones that I would go. The DL outside line, and the tight end.
So not the kicker.
Fuck the kickers. I hate kickers. They're like necessary. They're like fucking. They're like the kale of football. You fucking have to eat it, but no one likes kale. Who fucking likes kale?
Right, but it's good for you.
It's right. You have to have it. Yeah, great. Kale's on sale. Get them. Yeah, great.
No wonder it's on sale.
Even the best punter in football that we have, did the butt punt. Butt punt's going to be something I'm going to say at least for another 2 or 3 episodes.
Yes, and with that, there is no better place to end an episode than on the butt punt. This has been a tremendous episode, as always. Again, you can find us on all of your favorite podcasting listening platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean. Just go ahead and search Sports, of course, with Jonah and RPF. And, of course, head over to our YouTube channel. Check us out over there. Again, go to YouTube, search Jonah. Don't do that.
Search Jonah. Exactly. I don't think you want them to search your name. Go to YouTube.
Search Sports,
subscribe to our channel, please.
Search Sports, of course, with Jonah and RPF. Head on over there. We will see you next week. Thank you so much, RPF. It's been a pleasure.
All right, brother. Everyone watch Thursday night, Amazon Prime, Dolphins and Bengals. Okay. I'll see you. I'll catch you on the flip side, John.